All right, folks, here we are on Trading Nut again. We've got a new format for you, and we've got an old guest. So we've got Cas Daamen back in the house. He's been on the show twice before, and he's going to be the first to try out this new format of Trading Nut. Welcome back to the show, Cas.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Well, look, let's dive straight in. So thinking back to when you first became profitable, can you tell us any changes you made or things you discovered that helped you make that breakthrough?
Yeah, so for me, it was really going from fully discretionary trading to then mechanical trading. That was like the biggest thing that changed everything for me, because I think for 2.5 years, right now I trade 7.5 years. Back in the day when I was learning how to trade for 2.5 years, everything was completely subjective, not mechanical at all. It was complex, a lot of things I was looking at. And then when I switched that to mechanical and simple way of trading, that made the big difference for me. And I think that's a big struggle point for most traders, is that they look at too much. It's too subjective. And especially, as a beginner trader, I think most people have a discretionary style of trading, but discretionary trading relies on experience, which you don't have as a beginner. So I think switching that to mechanical trading, keeping a simple system, is what for most people will help, and what for me really made me change the corner, basically.
Right, if you're liking this video and you're thinking, where could I trade this kind of strategy? Why don't you check out my sponsors at Blue Guardian? Now, these guys have got an awesome prop firm. They offer up to 85% profit splits, realistic profit targets of 8 and 4%, scaling plan up to 2 million, the Guardian Protector, and they've got bi-weekly payouts. If you do want to join them, jump on board with coupon code TradingNut, all one word, and you're going to save yourself 10% off at checkout. Link in the description. And so just going into mechanical stuff there, like, when you say mechanical, because certain things can be discretionary even though they're mechanical, because if you build, like I build a lot of trading robots, and if something's mechanical, usually you can build it into an automated trading system. Mm-hmm. I mean, were there discretionary parts to your mechanical approach that you took?
No, not really in the beginning. So basically what I now do is fully systematic trading. So I get it programmed, I get it automatically backtested, and I try to trade it automatically as well. I do have one strategy that's a bit of a hybrid. So you have basically full discretionary trading on one side, on the other side, fully programmable automatic. And I also have a strategy that's kind of a combination, but the other two strategies of mine are fully programmable systematic, yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was when you first became profitable. Now, we've actually had that story. If you do want to find out all the detail around that, go and dive into those episodes. It's 198 and 108. And Cas actually did a few other little clips as well, if you find them there on the Trading Nut channel as well. So the next question is, let's dive into when you became consistently profitable. So what did you work on, and what things did you add or change after that initial success?
So once I first became profitable, I thought I cracked it. I had this profitable strategy. I had my psychology fixed. I had some funding with prop firms. I could trade and I could make money from it. But then when I hit my biggest drawdown, basically, I realized, okay, damn, this is quite bad. I have one strategy which works in the long run. But if that strategy goes into a prolonged period of drawdown, I can now not make any income from trading. And that's when I realized, okay, I need multiple strategies, preferably completely different. And that's what I then started to focus on. So building this portfolio of multiple strategies that are in Forex, gold, silver, oil, indices, to really diversify there. So that if one market is quiet, or if one strategy is performing not good at the time, the other ones are going to take over.
So, I mean, it all sounds kind of, pretty simple. Like, I'll go and create, a whole bunch of other strategies. I mean, coming up with profitable strategies, I know can be quite difficult. So how did you find an edge in like diversified markets? Did you have to base it off like the original edge, or were you able to sort of get some other education, or how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, so indeed, edge is not lying around every single corner. It's quite hard to find things. In fact, most things I test are just not going to work, so I throw them away. But when it comes to finding good ideas, what I do is I really research good traders. So traders that work for funds, traders that used to work for a fund or run a private fund. And they tend, when they interview, so when they're being interviewed on a podcast or whatever, they tend to share tiny ideas of what they do. So I listen to that and I think, okay, this is probably what he means. Then I write rules around what he explains, and then I start backtesting that. So it's really getting ideas from good sources.
Nice. That's a great little tip. Now, you said about throwing things away that didn't work. So if you test an edge, it doesn't work, you throw it away. At what point do you give up on an edge idea that you're testing?
Yeah, so I have this process of building strategies, and the first thing I do is an initial test. So it's a very simple idea, don't optimize anything, it's just going to be an initial test. And if I see that the initial test already doesn't make any money when I include costs, I just ditch it immediately. Because when the edge only comes from optimizing a lot, and the foundation, the initial idea didn't even work, I personally am not going to trust it, because then you really get into the over optimization space. And there's a lot of gray areas there. There's a lot of ways to work around it. But generally speaking, if the basic idea that I had and I tested didn't provide any edge, I just ditch it.
Right. Okay, so how would you advise aspiring traders who are trying to achieve the same kind of success as you to, I suppose, what roadmap would you give them?
I think the first thing is going to be really learning how and why the market moves. I think nowadays there's a lot of nice stories about an algorithm hunting your stops and a big banking heroes and evil people trying to hit your stop loss. It's not going to happen, and it's not really the reality. So I think starting with understanding how and why price moves, essentially, that gives you the foundation, and then you can build ideas upon that, because then you're going to notice things on charts. So I think that's really important. The other thing is going to be realistic expectations. So a lot of people think when they're learning how to trade, okay, I need to make 10% a month. It's not going to happen consistently. I have losing months as well. In fact, if you analyze the performance of hedge funds and really good firms and good traders, they don't win every month. So I think having realistic expectations, knowing what you can achieve with trading, combining that with the right chart knowledge is a great way to start and develop as a trader.
What are you looking to study or work on next to improve your performance as a trader?
Yeah, so right now I'm learning how to program, because believe it or not, back in the day, I just used to go to Fiverr.com and hire programmers to program my ideas, because I don't have any programming background at all. And I find it quite boring as well. But now I notice that when I work with a programmer, they create something, it doesn't work exactly as I want it to be. I have to go back to him. It takes so long. So right now I'm just learning how to do it myself. So that's a big thing. And the other thing is just building new strategies, essentially. Those two things, yeah.
Okay, cool. And what platforms are you doing your coding on or learning to code through?
I'm learning TradeStation myself, which has easy language. When I hired programmers, it was for MT4, MT5, and TradingView.
Okay, so you're doing most of your trading on TradeStation now, or you're planning to going forward?
Yeah, I'm planning to do more trading on TradeStation. Yeah, so right now it's on MT4 using indices, gold, forex, silver, but I want to dive into more the commodity futures side as well, adding that to my portfolio. And TradeStation is just a great platform for that.
Okay, cool. Now, what should everyone avoid in the trading space?
That's a good question. I think basically everything, like a lot. There's a lot of information out there that people spend a lot of time learning. And then when I talk to them, for example, most of the things they need to unlearn. I think that becoming a profitable trader really comes down to three main things. And the first thing is going to be having a strategy with edge that fits with your personality. Second thing is going to be basically having the balls to trade that strategy during the good and bad periods, so good psychology. And the third thing is going to be scaling up capital, managing risk. If you do these three things, you're essentially a profitable trader. And I think a lot of traders focus on everything else but those three things. So if they avoid everything else and focus on those three things and really ask themselves, do I really have an edge? Have I tested it? No, okay, that's the first thing to do. Do you have an edge, but you're not able to trade it during bad times? Okay, focus on that. But watching endless YouTube videos, not even taking notes when they do so, I think it kind of feels like making progress for developing traders, but in reality it's not. So I think it's cutting it all out, focusing on those three things.
It's a great answer, by the way. Now, can you talk a little bit about your trading performance, your track record over the past year or two?
Yeah, so a few years ago, it was like 2.5 years ago, something like that, I had the biggest drawdown I ever had. It was like 30R drawdown, so quite significant. And that's back in the day when I only had one strategy. So that's when I really learned, okay, I need multiple strategies. So that's what I then started to focus on. So after that drawdown, I realized, okay, I need multiple strategies. So then I took a bit of a break from trading, building new strategies there. And then, the past year or so, year and a half, I'm up like 26%, something like that, 30%. We can take a look into it later. But it's basically the track record, and it mostly came from a new strategy I actually added.
And now you're working for a hedge fund, is that right?
Yeah, it's a small private fund, yeah.
Okay, cool. And so how long have you been doing that for?
I'm with them for 1.5 years, I think, or two years maybe. But I did take a break in between, like I said, to develop new strategies after that big initial drawdown. Yeah.
And is there somewhere people can go after the show to have a look at your track record?
Yeah, it's on my website. So it's going to be cdfxtrading.com, and that's where the track record is.
Brilliant. Well, look, next few questions. Picture this. You're a struggling trader who has 10 hours to commit to trading each week. How would you break up those 10 hours to have the best chance of reaching their first spell of being profitable?
I would actually do the exact same, only do one thing for that 10 hours, because I think splitting the 10 hours up onto 7 different tasks is not the best way to learn things. So I would just basically make a plan for multiple months effectively. And then the first thing would be, like I said earlier, learning exactly how the market works. Then the next thing I would do as a developing trader, so for the next week or so, I would then really focus on learning how to properly backtest something. So you learn how the market works, you develop an idea for that, a setup, a strategy, whatever it is, you create rules, and then you learn how to properly backtest, because that's where a lot of people make mistakes. So I would definitely focus a few weeks on that. And then, the week after, I would probably start testing it, analyzing the data, see if it's anything. And if it's profitable, you go to the next step, which then is going to be trading it on demo. I believe in demo just for the same reason as you want to practice first. Basically, if you first practice, you don't have to put in any money because you only did your backtest. You don't even know if you can trade it live. So I think trading it on demo for a week or two, seeing if you can do the exact same thing as you did in your backtest is going to be beneficial. Then the next few weeks or month, I would trade it on a live account to keep track of your mistakes, to see if it still performs exactly the same way as backtesting, and then eventually scale up capital and start building new strategies. That's like, it's not 10 hours or something, but it's like a multi-month plan, basically.
Okay, so it's really just you're focusing down on one thing for the those 10 hours each week until you progress through those stages. Now, on those stages, backtesting, you talked about properly backtesting. Mm-hmm. Define that. Right, just jumping in here now, Cas has been kind enough to put together a masterclass on backtesting. It's a video, goes for about 25 minutes. He goes through everything he does in the backtesting space. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up here on the Trading Nut YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to that, head over there right now and jump on and subscribe. All right, folks, let's get on with the rest of the show. So when it comes to finding a strong edge in the market, what areas would you recommend somebody study?
I would listen to really profitable traders and not going to YouTube typing in trading, because you get the videos from the best marketeers, not from the best traders. Usually the best trading information, strategies, etc., are from people that are not that good at YouTube game, basically, but are actually good traders. And then you look at that they work for a fund or whatever, and that's where I get my ideas. So yeah, like I said earlier, listening to them, taking notes. Yeah, that's it.
And so if somebody was to listen to this and go, okay, well, you're a good trader, Cas, I'm listening to you. Are you going to tell me some of the things that you've heard from some of these really good traders on podcasts? If you had to list off one or two of them, I know you probably don't want to give away your trade secrets here, but what would they be?
Personally,
especially around somebody, as you mentioned before, trying to understand how the markets actually work.
I think the markets, the fundamentals of the markets are really how the market moves, and that's going to be your supply and demand. So I think learning supply and demand, learning a bit of order flow and level 2 data, so the order book, understanding what makes prices go up and down, etc. Combining that with volume really gives you this broad overview of why markets move and how they move. And if you search on YouTube for videos regarding order flow trading or those type of things, you will get a good understanding there. And that's what I call the foundation type of thing, to really understand what the market does and why it moves. And I think that's important because when developing strategies, essentially, if you test 100 things, by pure chance, you're going to find something that probably looks good in a back test. But if it's not based on an underlying thing that makes sense for the market, so supply and demand imbalances, for example, I think the strategy is not that robust. So that's really important.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below. Cool, look, thanks for coming on the show, Cas. Now, what's the best way for traders to connect with you?
It's Instagram at Daamen Cas or my website, cdfxtrading.com.
All right, folks, stay tuned. We're about to jump into a price chart with Cas. He's going to show you something amazing. So if you want to watch that video, it should be up here somewhere.